We good now? If you want to look in Proverbs, in chapter 17 and verse 22, Lord willing, do a continuation of a lesson I started last week. Proverbs 17:22. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. So I used that, a comment that was shared about how if someone has, and I used it in amount for the number of seconds in a day, $86,400. Wouldn't hurt my feelings to have that, but if someone does, then it may not be a big deal if they lost $10. So why would 10 seconds in a day have the potential? Why do we sometimes allow that to ruin our day? A 10-second encounter that's so brief, why would we allow that to have such power over the course of so many seconds in a day? So I kind of took it, I loved that thought, but I kind of took it in a different route. How 10 seconds is all it takes sometimes to change a day in a good way. 10 seconds is all it can take sometimes to do something positive or uplifting for somebody else. $10 out of $86,400 may not be a big deal, but 10 seconds might be your window of opportunity to offer someone something that could change their life forever. 10 seconds is all it could take. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Nobody really wants a mully grub. But if you can imagine treating someone, though it could be in just a brief moment of your day, so positively, you have such a nice exchange that it could change the trajectory of a decision they were facing that you had no idea about. You really don't know what people are dealing with. And I think of this, we want to be a light. No one likes to encounter a ray of black hole that sucks the life and existence out of anything around it. Nobody, yes. Down in the mouth, mealy mouth, negative, must be a local phrase. Yeah, mully grub. Yeah, Brother Brewer, that's right, Brother Joe Brewer. Is that where he used to say, and hogwash. Those were his catchphrase. I forgot about mully grub, you're right. But no one wants to be a mully grub. No, you're fine. Nobody wants to be the black hole in someone's day, sucking any life that they thought that they had right out of them. But to be a light, and instead of choosing complaining or complaint, how about changing our mindset that we choose gratitude and simple acts of kindness that we can do for others? So today is Mother's Day. And if you received the image that I sent, if you did not look at it, if you wouldn't mind to look at it, and not for me, not for the purposes of me in the picture, but I shared an image today that has someone very special in it to me. And she means the world to me. Now, I've known her most of my life now. I've known her far more than I didn't know her at this point in my life. And I still pretty much call her Mrs. Bauer. My mama is gone. Today's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the mamas that are here or who may hear this. But happy Mother's Day to you. My mama's gone. But Mrs. Bauer is someone in that photo that I sent you. She's someone who showed me tremendous acts of kindness throughout my life. Now, I've spent a lot more than 10 seconds with this person, but just if we could focus on the people that mean something to us, often you get a lot of insight into somebody's memories by what they choose to share, what choose to be prominent in what they speak about that person. So Mrs. Bauer for me is someone who showed me tremendous acts of kindness throughout my life. I was fortunate that she loved me as her student. She nurtured my love of math and science. She nurtured my desire to go to college. I kept visiting her after I was in high school. She supported my decision to become a teacher. I kept visiting her and volunteering after I went to college. And she was an exemplary role model for me. In her last year of teaching, I got to be on a team with her, the year she retired, or the year that became her last year of teaching. She supported my decision to become a teacher, and she was a role model for me. So I've maintained that relationship with her because she represents to me the epitome of a sweet spirit. Anyone who can be around her, you just feel the kindness the moment she smiles at you. My wife and I got married on a Saturday. I took Rhonda Ray to Miss Bauer on Monday. That was important to me. She is one of the first people Rhonda Ray would have met that was influential in my life. So we went by to see Mrs. Bauer. And I've maintained a relationship with her. She represents what it means to demonstrate kindness to others. Now, she's a mother of her own children. But now, and I've shared about this, I believe, in lessons, I don't know that you'd remember it, but she is the person I often reach out to for mom-type questions. I will call her. Things that people still would call their mothers about. Those are the things that I will call her. To me, she's Mama Bauer, and I gave her a Mother's Day card. That was important for me. And Rhonda Ray made, in that photo, a cupcake bouquet. And you'd have thought we brought that woman a gold nugget. And all it was some cupcakes. It was no big deal at all. It wasn't much considering all she's done for me, all that she continues to do for me, and all that she represents in my life. She made us feel loved and appreciated in that moment, as she always does. So Mother's Day, you think about moms, and often those of us who've been blessed to have a positive mother, a positive parental experience with someone we called mom, or if people didn't have that, often they may have found someone who could represent it to them. But the things that they represent, my mom is gone, my earthly mother. She has not been here for now, going on 10 years. My mom's been gone almost 10 years. So I haven't had the opportunities on a Mother's Day to celebrate. It's often interesting when you do not have that opportunity. Mother's Day has always been kind of special to me as I became an adult. No offense to fathers or Father's Day, but Mother's Day kind of held a special place for me because she's who I had. And she's who I had to celebrate. And as I aged, I recognized what she represented from my childhood and the many wonderful things she taught me and the experiences she allowed me. I recognized, as I hear other people sometimes share their experiences growing up, that my mom probably did a good job demonstrating to me that she picked her battles. She picked and chose what mattered and what she took issue with concerning me in my childhood, concerning what she allowed me to experience as a child. And I felt like it helped me have a much more balanced childhood and affected me into my adulthood and my interactions with other people even now. So that's what my mom offered me. And now I don't have that opportunity to say thank you. But hopefully I took advantage of those moments when I can. So if you still have your mother, if you still have that opportunity, there will come a day where, quote, let's be very real, you may not, and you will not get today back. You will not get this opportunity again. You will not have that chance to express that gratitude. And if it is a day where you're like, oh man, today's that, and I know we all fall prey to that, there will become a day where you will very much know it's Mother's Day because of the absence and not the presence. So hopefully everyone will take today, those of you who still have a mother, will have that opportunity. You will take that opportunity. You will value that opportunity to express your love and gratitude. In Proverbs 31, in 26 through 28, she openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Now that verse, I'm sure, Proverbs 31 is very often, I think, very stereotypically used on Mother's Day, or to talk about moms and wives and etc. But like Miss Bauer, a true mother represents so much of what it means to serve others out of love. And that would be my purpose. In 10 seconds of a day, you don't have to be someone's mother or father to show them love. You don't have to be somebody's mother or father to show them courtesy. You don't have to be someone's mother or father to show them gratitude, kindness, or appreciation. If you had to be somebody's mother or father, I couldn't have shown anybody any of those things I just said, because that's not been a label put on my life. That isn't a role that I have been granted. So obviously we don't have to be those things to exhibit love to other people. My mom did. My mom chose opportunities. I was telling Rhonda Ray, when people talk about their childhood, and I may reference this later, you often get an insight into, obviously their raising, as we'd say around here, their upbringing. But you also get an insight into what became formative and what formed them as a later adult or as a person. It's interesting to hear what people will share and the memories that have been so prominent that became formative in their upbringing. And I was telling Rhonda Ray, the thing that would most prominently stand out to me is my mom chose sacrifice and love of others above herself, time and time and time and time again. I didn't understand it. I would watch her. I would recognize what she was doing, and I just couldn't understand, how does she do it? Not uplifting her. Please don't misinterpret, because every mother will do their best, but no mother gets it right every time. Every father will probably do their best, but not every father gets it right every time. I don't idealize my upbringing, but I can appreciate the values that it taught me, and I can appreciate the love that she showed me. But my mom was a human, the same as anybody else. I mean, she did her best, and she did what she could for us. But I watched her choose this time and time again. And I think about that, and I think about how I watched her choose that sacrifice over and over and over, putting herself often far less than second above other people. Choosing 10 seconds of sacrifice to make somebody else feel important could change the entire trajectory of somebody's mood. 86,400 seconds in a day, and you give 10 seconds of it to somebody else, and you could change the entire trajectory of their mood. You could change how they feel about themselves for at least that moment. You may not be somebody's mother, and you don't have to be, but you can still be kind and caring enough that, what do they call you? Blessed or blessed, however you should say it in that context. You may not be somebody's mother, but that doesn't matter. Someone can still acknowledge that there is wisdom in your mouth and that you allow the law of kindness to rule your tongue. They can still see that in you. That 10 seconds or so that you take to express gratitude and love to somebody else, the compassion that may take only 10 seconds that you choose to demonstrate to somebody, could be the only opportunity that person has that day to feel the love of Christ in their life. It may be the only opportunity. And I think that as an individual, we should not so easily discount small opportunities to show someone they matter to us. Individuals who wake up this morning and say, oh yeah, it's Mother's Day. And they got to text their mom or call their mom or do whatever they're going to do. Those times will hit differently when mothers are not there, when there is no opportunity to say it, when there is no opportunity to express it. Opportunities will come and go. So what do we do with the 10 seconds we might be given with somebody else? When you think about, it doesn't take long to show someone that they matter or to show somebody that they're important. And can we choose kindness to be a light in someone's day? How about when we face circumstances in life, we decide to trust God instead of panic? And that is not always easy. Life situations come upon us and they can be very, very burdensome. But often God can put people in our pathway, and hopefully we could be that someone to someone else who can offer them a calm in the midst of their storm. And I will use Miss Bauer. When Carolyn passed away, there was situations I had not faced with the passing of a loved one before. I've dealt with it in other contexts, but I had not done it with my sister's situation. And guess who God had put in my life who honestly could help me, because she had dealt with some things and her role was someone else. And it was Miss Bauer. And she directed me to someone who, my wife can tell you, our interaction with that person made life significantly easier with the process that I had to follow through with. And Miss Bauer guided me to that person. It didn't take her long. She dropped a name, said, I suggest you call this person. You don't even know how much easier things got once she directed me and I finally contacted that individual. You don't know that you could be that person for one day. Don't take those moments lightly. Often when we're in a rush, we all fall prey to this, I assume. I know I can. But when you're in line, I think about when you watch people in a line at a restaurant. My wife doesn't ask for much because she just goes ahead and gets it. No, I'm kidding. No, I come home and I'll find these nice things and I'll be, well, isn't that nice? Thank you for funding it. You're welcome, honey. But she really, in seriousness now, she doesn't ask for hardly anything. And so one day she likes Chipotle. And often that place is so busy. And so we don't go there much. That's kind of a treat for us. And so one day we went out. And if you just watch people in line at a restaurant, they are only there to be served. Often that is the mindset people take into a place. They are only there to be served. And often I don't even know that many people give consideration to the people doing the serving. Now, I ain't nothing, but I try very hard before they take my order or before I make it about me. I try very hard to say, how are you today? I hope you've had a good day. Now, it takes less than 10 seconds. And you'd be shocked at sometimes the facial change in somebody. You might have been the only customer who actually acknowledged they were a human being. I got tickled. This one little girl was working around the other places, Cadoba and Wilkes. So we were there, and there was this little girl working, and my wife ordered the chicken. And I watched that little girl's face. She went, oh. I was like, is it spicy? She's like, yeah, it's spicy. I said, oh, great, I'll pay for that later. She goes, yeah, I'll be here. And we got so tickled, but we had such a sweet exchange, just the little girl standing there. But you just don't know. In 10 seconds of time, the devil can make you not that you don't even recognize it really, I think, often as the devil. We can discount many opportunities to just be human to somebody else. How about reframing a bad moment and encouraging someone, or oftentimes it's ourselves, to ask God, how can this be used for my good? It's easy to focus on the discouragement. It's easy to focus on what we feel is the injustice of it. It's easy to focus on what we feel is the frustration of something. But what if we can step back and reframe it and say, God, how can I use this for my good? How can you turn this into something good? We reframe the context. It takes less than 10 seconds to think that thought, but it can change our entire mood. How about letting go? Now, this can be, as a human being, you may not battle this, but whew, mercy. I am a thinker, and my mind used to hold on to things extremely well. I had a teacher in school. She said, your mind is a steel trap. Now mine feels like a metal sieve. It's just slipping through. Seems like things don't quite stick as they used to. But often, as a person practicing, it takes 10 seconds or less, asking God, help me let go of that offense instead of holding on to it. Asking for help to move forward. Asking for help to move on. Modeling that before someone else can be the greatest example. And my mom did that for me. There were things my mom could have been so, and the world would say, bitter about. But my mom tried to approach it with prayer and forgiveness, and often would reflect and just think and say, I hope I dealt with that the way I should have. And that is what she modeled for me. I just remember her with situations and stuff I wouldn't want to say out loud. And if only people knew of what she endured. But she looked at it like this. I hope I still was. Now, she may not have phrased it this way, but her goal wasn't to let it. She would even sometimes be sharing and say, oh, that's in the past. I need to make sure I let that go. But she didn't grow up with a generation that had an outlet. She grew up as a generation where you not only moved forward, you just hoped you were continuing to move forward. It was a different day and age. How about choosing patience instead of reacting? And that can be very hard. That can be very challenging. Choosing patience instead of reacting can be a 10-second moment that changes your entire exchange with someone else. And don't get me wrong, some people river dance on your last nerve. They don't tap dance on it. They be river dancing. And oh my word, it's very interesting, the people who have the ability to take your happy mood and in a matter of just a few words, they can turn you southward. Well, God help me not to let that happen. God help me to remember that is a 10-second moment in my day, and I don't have to let it change the trajectory of how it was going. To say that, let's be the opposite. Let's make it, maybe I could make it my goal that I can be a 10-second exchange that's positive. Many of the choices I mentioned, when I think about as the how about we do this? How about we let go? How about we reframe a bad moment? How about we face life circumstances with hope instead of panic? Well, however I phrase it. They can take 10 seconds or less to choose which direction we hope they project us into, but they really do have the power to change the trajectory of our mood. They have the power to change the trajectory of our attitude, and they might even be able to do that for somebody else, and that is the goal. When I think about what could I learn from this lesson, I think about that little picture that I sent of someone special to me. And I think about how interactions with her through the years have meant so much to me. God, help me to be that to somebody else. Because often I think, when I think about my mom was many things. She was loving, she was caring, she was giving, she sacrificed. Yes, she could discipline, but there were so many things that embodied who she was. So many things that now as an adult, I look back and think, I hope I can be a positive example to someone else in that way. She taught me she had 4 children, not super close like some of you have, but she had 4 kids, 2 pretty close, then a little bit of space, a little bit of space. And that poor woman didn't know what was coming. She was not young. My dad was 51 years old. Out of nowhere, my poor mom, long story short, discovered she was expecting again. And she would tell the story and whatnot sometimes. But out of nowhere, she had this child who was born in an entirely different generation than his siblings, raised in an entirely different setting than his siblings, as my sisters like to point out, especially Kathy Miller. I was raised under an entirely different set of circumstances. My mom kind of had an opportunity, in a sense, that now I realize she raised me largely under her primary influence. It produced a thinker. It produced someone who was not afraid to ask questions, and she, to the best of her ability, nurtured it, humored it, and put up with it. But if she'd had enough, she could just kind of give me an answer that helped me move along with love. But I think about those things that she modeled for me. There were aspects of that I think back now. And the overwhelming thing, and as you reflect on whether today you choose to or not, you reflect on your own moms. My focus isn't anything negative at all. It isn't anything that was formative in any certain regard. The overall thing I take from what I realize now from her that I can carry with me my life, she put other people first. She put other people first. Now, yes, she had a strong faith. Yes, she loved the Lord. Yes, she modeled all those things. But I think those are the reasons she could put other people first. She recognized her place. She recognized her duty to a God above herself. And she could put other people first. She could put their priorities before her own. And I'm being honest. I used to think sometimes, why on earth? I don't know. She was a mom. She loved with a mother's heart, but she also loved with a Christian heart. And there are things that could take 10 seconds of our time, and they could leave an impression on someone else in such a positive way to show the love of Jesus. You may never know how close someone is to just giving up. And I think about that, the power of words. We may never know how one dismissive comment from us could be the very moment someone says, why do I even try? You don't know that comment could be the very 10-second moment where someone decides, I'm just not appreciated. Why do I even try? Our actions toward others matter more than we probably could ever imagine. And they hold the potential to change the trajectory of somebody's mood and, God forbid, somebody's existence. And I love this next verse in particular. In Hebrews 10:24, I love how it begins, and let us consider one another. That is what my mom taught me. You are considerate of other people. You are considerate of how other people feel. You are considerate of how things impact other people. You are considerate of what matters to someone else and what role you may have in that. And she, with tremendous self-discipline, was able to put herself second many time and time again. Not uplifting her, I'm just saying that was the example she provided me. It says, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love. Now, there are people that have the gift of provoking, but it is not to provoke one to love. There are people who have the gift of provoking you to irritation, the gift of provoking us to frustration, the gift of provoking us to even anger. But that is not what it's about. Provoke unto love and to good works. But I love how it begins. And let us consider one another. And that is, if I may offer one thing, my mom was very considerate. And she often, especially when it came to family, putting them first and demonstrating that for us as her loved ones. In Ephesians 4:32, and be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. But that wording, and let us consider one another. In my lifetime, I've met a handful of people, not often, not terribly often, but I have met a few that just seem so brash, so dismissive with how they can speak to other people, and I despise it. That is very harsh for me. It's not becoming and it's not inviting. And in that 10 seconds it takes for someone to answer somebody so coldly, so harshly, so brashly or dismissively, that other someone can become horribly discouraged. In that 10-second response that feels so cold or harsh or brash or dismissive, that can really discourage somebody else. It can discourage them from ever speaking to that other person again or interacting, I can tell you that. You try to, what do most parents, or those of, I only work with children from a professional standpoint, but those of you who raise them or will raise them, most likely you have taught or will teach your kids to say things like, no, thank you. And why do you teach someone to say no, thank you? Because it's polite. It's appropriate. You've acknowledged someone has thought of you, and you've acknowledged that though you don't want it, there's a nice way to say it. It acknowledges somebody's thoughtfulness without dismissing their efforts. That is something that most adults teach their children, correct? It doesn't make someone feel like when someone says, well, why'd you do that? I don't want that. No. Why? That's 10 seconds where someone's thoughtfulness suddenly gets horribly dismissed. And it can hurt people's feelings, can't it? I think about the power of words. Why don't we consider the following examples and show how Jesus's love can show through such simple things. You smile at somebody. You hold a door. You send a thank you or encouraging text. You ask somebody, are you okay? Instead of, what's wrong with you? There is a difference sometimes. You offer to pray for someone. You give small acts of kindness, like sending your mom a Mother's Day card or something of that nature. We never know what the kindness from our small acts, and they can take 10 seconds or less, what they may do for someone else. In Proverbs 12 and 25, heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. It doesn't say a dismissive word. It doesn't say a harsh word. It doesn't say a cold word. It doesn't say an indifferent word. What's it say? A good word. A good word makes an entire difference for somebody. I want to be mindful of even small opportunities for me to learn from this lesson for myself, to be reminded of small opportunities to encourage others in the love of Jesus. And it can only take 10 seconds. It can only take a small amount of time. Some people may be in the midst of battles that we know nothing about because, as often is appropriate, they don't share. There are things that can be very private, things that are very personal, things that are deeply private between two individuals, whatever the case is. And I would hate to be the person who offers unnecessary reasons for them to feel discouraged because I offer a cold word, a dismissive word, a harsh word, and then whatever else I said. So I want to give you some quick examples here as we round this up. In 1939, this to me is such a sweet, just a very powerful story, really. It doesn't take long to make a decision that can change things. In 1939, a British businessman named Nicholas Winton was planning a simple skiing vacation. But just before he left, a friend asked him, almost in passing, to come see something in Prague instead. That small decision, that quick yes, instead of sticking to his original plan, took only seconds. When he arrived, he saw Jewish families desperately trying to get their children to safety as the threat of World War II was growing. In that moment, Nicholas Winton made another quick decision. He decided to help. The choice led him to organize the rescue of 669 children. It took seconds to change his mind, and he said yes to go with this person. As a result, he helped almost 670 children, get them out of danger and into safe homes during the war. Hundreds of lives were saved, and today thousands of people are alive because of that one man's decision to act. It may have only taken 10 seconds or less for him to say, yes, I'll go with you. All because of a moment, a simple yes that probably took less than 10 seconds. You know, you often think big changes require big time, but the truth is, direction changes in moments. Nicholas Winton thought he was deciding where to go on a trip, but in reality, he was deciding the future of hundreds of lives. Think about that. When he made his choice, he thought he was just changing his trip plans, but instead he ended up changing the future for hundreds of children. 10 seconds can't build a life, but it can redirect one. 10 seconds may not be the moment that everything changes, but it can be the moment everything starts to change. And I think that's a thought that I need to think about. Could we be that positive change for someone else? There's so many things we can nitpick. There's so many things in life that I think about how in my brain, the devil may try and plant thoughts, but God help me to focus on how can I be the good in that 10 seconds. Think of the lives that were changed because in a moment's time, he chose to change his plans. And I think about this, and I have one more thing, and then I'm almost done. I'll end it up here. I have mentioned this person. I have one very favorite person from history. I don't know that anybody could name the person, but I do reference this person on a rare occasion. But this person is my favorite, Harriet Tubman. I choke up thinking about her. She is my favorite. Harriet Tubman was born into slavery and for years escape seemed impossible. But one night she faced a moment of decision. She could stay where she was, where it was familiar but not free. And that is the case. 10 seconds, less than that. She could take a risk and run, or she could stay where it was familiar. And the decision didn't take long. In a matter of seconds, Harriet chose to go. She stepped out into the darkness, not knowing exactly where she was going, but trusting God to lead her. That one decision changed her life forever, but it didn't stop there. She didn't stop with being happy that she was free. She chose to risk her freedom so that others could get a taste of what it was like. After gaining her freedom, Harriet made another quick but powerful choice. She chose to go back. Again and again, she returned to lead others to freedom through the Underground Railroad. Because of her courage, dozens of people were rescued, and her faith and bravery inspired countless others. Freedom for Harriet Tubman didn't begin with a journey. It began with a choice. And for us, you don't know what choice of what we say to someone in a matter of seconds could begin for them. And I think about that. We all know the importance of measuring our words, but do I really truly value the choice in measuring their impact? People, and often when we're very familiar with people, people can become pretty loose in what they say. And that's pretty normal. But in seconds, she chose to step out. And that step changed not only her life, but many others. The choice to take that first step toward freedom may have come, for her, it may have come after many days, many years, many sleepless nights of prayer and wondering what it would be like. But it only took seconds to make the move. And it was a move that changed her life forever. A move that brought freedom to many other people. And you know, I don't know what each of you face today, Lord willing, if we live to see this week. I don't know what each person will encounter. But I do know this, for whatever it may entail for me, I pray I choose to take the seconds of opportunity that I'm given with other people to be an encouragement, to offer them hope and to be a light that demonstrates God's love. Mrs. Bauer has demonstrated many things to me, but the overwhelming thing she's shown me is love. It hasn't taken long. She has chosen to give me much of her time. But a brief exchange with her, if I get her on my brain, I'll call Miss Bauer. Rhonda Ray, if I'm on a school a holiday from school or something, and she's at work, sometimes Rhonda Ray will say to me, you should take Miss Bauer to coffee. So I'll take Miss Bauer, we meet for coffee. It doesn't take long. And those are simple things I can do to show her my appreciation. But I think about someone like her and what she means to me. What does someone think about when they think of us? I know what I think about when I see her. That picture means a lot to me. I didn't send the one, Rhonda caught one of when she saw me on the porch and her face is priceless. I didn't send that one because my back looks terrible. But anyway, that one didn't make it. I don't know what each of us will face, but I pray we can be in those moments to show and demonstrate God's love. In 10 seconds, any of us might make a choice this week that can change the trajectory of somebody's life. And we might change the trajectory of our own for at least that given day or that given moment. Here's my prayer, that trajectory will be positive. We'll give it to Brother Mark.
Appreciate that. Really good lesson. Always always gets you to thinking, don't it, about the things that right down where we live. And I appreciate that. I'm glad that we can be an influence. And, I was thinking about some people, and I won't even mention names, but some of the people down through life that has made a decision they could have, at that very second, they could have went a different way, but they went the right way, and what a difference it made. On the other hand, there's a lot of people that could have made a good decision, made bad ones. So something to think about, ain't it? To really be careful in what we choose and directions we go, because it can influence for years and years and years to come. Very good lesson. We'll take just a little bit of a break and get back with the service here shortly. And happy Mother's Day to everybody.